Boise State, ranked 25th in the country and champions of the Mountain West, taking the field at Sam Boyd Stadium in the 2017 Las Vegas Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania, and waiting on the other side in apple green unis, Mario Cristobal's Oregon Ducks. Cristobal just got the job a little over a week ago. He leads Oregon in as head coach for the first time. Glad to have you with us here in Las Vegas for the 2017 Las Vegas Bowl. Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit here. Great matchup. They've only played twice, both memorable, and both Boise wins. What are you expecting to see in this matchup today?
I'm excited that we got a bowl game, and we're going to have two teams that have something to try to go out and prove. Boise State, anytime they go up against a Power 5, it's go time, and everybody's excited to have that opportunity. And for Oregon, Willie Taggart leaves to go to Florida State. Mario Cristobal is now their new coach. Plenty of incentive for Oregon as well to go out there and try to get a fresh start with a new coach.
The players started a petition to get Mario Cristobal named head coach. They were successful, and he's with Molly McGrath.
Thank you, Reese. Coach, this past week has been a whirlwind. What did you say before the game to refocus your team?
There wasn't much that had to be said. These guys were dialed in. They've been through a lot, but they've handled it the right way. They're hungry. They want to be aggressive. They want to play with confidence. And you know what? We've given that ability by the way we prepared all week. So these guys are ready to go.
What will you miss most without Royce Freeman out there?
Well, he's a powerful guy. Obviously, he's a game changer. But we've got some other guys who are going to do a great job.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Molly and Mario, thank you. And as Molly alluded to, Royce Freeman, the star running back for Oregon, the top running back in Oregon history, will not play in this game, protecting his draft status. When you include bowl yardage, he's 7th all-time in career rushing. We're underway. Boise State won the toss and deferred, so they'll kick it off. Goes into the end zone. And the Ducks will start on their 25 behind their star quarterback, Justin Herbert. And when he's been in the lineup, Kirk, this offense has been as dangerous and powerful as any in the country.
No doubt about it. 6'6", 225 pounds, the arm talent, throws a very accurate ball, and he plays with confidence. And I think his team feeds off of that confidence. I think that'll be a big key today. I can't wait to see how Oregon attacks. Willie Taggart called the plays for this Oregon offense. Mario Cristobal and this offensive staff, they've had a little bit of time here to put their game plan together, build it around Herbert's skill set. Do they continue to fight and battle the way they have all year when he's been in there, or do they get a little bit more physical because of Mario Cristobal and his ability loves to run the football?
Without Freeman back there, Kenai Benoit gets the start. He is beside Herbert in the backfield. Quick pass immediately and completed out to Dylan Mitchell, and Mitchell's going to get 5. And this is a key right here, Kirk. Boise State doesn't want to play on the edges against Oregon with the speed advantage the Ducks have.
Yeah, their coaches must have said leverage on the ball and getting outside against that perimeter 20 to 30 times this week in talking to us. They know that they've got to protect the edges.
Fly sweep, one of the fastest guys, a young player, Jalen Redd, a freshman from Rancho Cucamonga, California, is up close to the first down. Looks like they're going to spot him about half yard short.
That's what makes this offense so tough, is they have so many quick players, and they do a good job of getting the ball to the perimeter so quickly. You have to respect it, and when you do that, it opens up the inside run game.
There is the inside run game, and nothing doing in there for Benoit. I don't think Benoit got back to the line of scrimmage. In Boise, behind the Mountain West Player of the Year on defense, Leighton Vander Esch, making the stop.
Gotta love to watch this defensive line. They're undersized. It's going to be a battle for them when they go up against a bigger offensive line. With that middle linebacker, Vander Esch, they always have a chance in those short yardage situations. That time, he's able to, the line took up most of those offensive linemen. It freed Vander Esch to be able to get up there and make that play on 3rd and short.
Ducks need to be careful here. They have not been very good in net punting. Had a couple taken back for touchdowns, and this guy, Avery Williams, is dangerous. And had he been able to slip away from Brendan Schooler, he might have had some room to run, but a short return for the starting cornerback, who's also the punt returner. Now, here comes the Boise State offense, led by Brett Rypien. Rypien got off to a really slow start this season, Kirk. They did a little 2-quarterback system, and we'll see Montel Cozart, the quarterback, as well. But it really affected Rypien early until he turned it around mid-season.
Wait, he's a junior. You see the experience, the big key, the command of the offense. Has to throw the ball in rhythm. Has to get back, be able to make quick decisions to get the ball out accurately today against this athletic Oregon defense.
Throwing a little screen to Ryan Wolpen. Wolpen gets a first down and is across the 45.
That's a nice way to just settle into the game. Boise State historically plays with a chip on their shoulder no matter who they're playing, but especially when they play a team from the Pac-12. It's a nice job of just not getting in a hurry. Even though it's the first pass, he waited for the play to develop, didn't give it away, didn't tip his hand, and then just dumped it down to his back Wolpen and picked up big yards for that first down.
There is Cozart. We'll see plenty of him. Special packages. He and Rypien will both be in the game at the same time. Wolpen has the ball for the second time, and he's just ripping through the Duck defense for another first down. Wolpen getting the start today, though we do expect to see regular starter Alexander Madison, who injured an ankle in the Mountain West Championship game against Fresno State.
Zach Hill, the offensive coordinator, has got to love to see this, because they need to be able to be physical against Oregon's defensive front. They've got to be able to run the ball, which will set up their play action opportunities where they can take some shots to Cedric Wilson, number 1 downfield.
Rypien, quick pass to one of the tight ends, Alec Danens. Danens, veteran guy, Fullerton, Idaho.
Boy, Rypien, guy that struggled early in the year with his confidence. They're breaking in essentially 4 new offensive linemen. They're breaking in. They lost 3 of their top receivers. They lost Jeremy McNichols last year, their top back. And there's a lot of new faces around him. Not to mention the Cozart transferred in out of Kansas, and I think he was looking for confidence early.
Another back that they're very high on, Robert Mahone, getting a carry, but Jalen Jelks, who's been one of the better defensive linemen, not only in the Pac-12 but in the country, maybe underappreciated, as a tackle for loss.
Watch him just use his hands and get off of the block. I mean, this is textbook. It's what he's done all year. He's so long. I mean, he's 6'6", 245 pounds. And you always hear about defensive linemen, how good of hands do they have? That's why you need to have good hands, to be able to extend yourself, get off of a block, and then be able to get in the backfield and make a play. That was perfect.
What Harsin and the offensive staff have on third down, they need 3. Quick pass to Wilson. It's complete. Cedric Wilson, their most dangerous receiver, makes the catch and moves the sticks.
I love how Zach Hill decides to move him around. It's a third down. He's an inside receiver. And he's got a big safety in Tyree Robinson at 6'4", trying to stay with him. That's going to be a big key today, is how Cedric Wilson, by far, their go-to receiver. He'll line up into the boundary the way he is now, but they move him around, and they did a great job there on third down, moving him to the inside to get that matchup.
Cozart at one-on-one on the other side, and this time Springs does a really good job in jamming up Wilson and keeping him from getting to the fade.
That was really good coverage there by Springs.
There is Montel Cozart, who started his career at Kansas, threw for nearly 2,800 yards in his Kansas career, but was looking for someplace to win.
Yeah, and we know that he can run the ball, but he can throw it too. He's got great versatility. When he gets in there, the scouting report for Oregon says he's going to run the ball. He's going to run the ball, but you're going to find out that he can throw it, and if you get loaded up against the run game, he'll make you pay for it.
Rypien back at quarterback. Now Rypien throwing to the outside, and he overshot his intended man. Sean Modster was out there. He was being covered by Ugochukwu Amadi.
Jim Leavitt, the defensive coordinator from Oregon, taking a chance there, bringing some pressure. Forced Rypien to throw that ball maybe before he was ready. This is where, if I'm Boise State, I'm trying to find a way to get Cedric Wilson in a matchup that I like. He's all the way down at the bottom against the freshman, Graham.
Very talented freshman at that, but Wilson, Rypien hasn't looked his way yet. Instead, he throws it over the middle. Modster makes the catch and get him down around the 5, but he needed to get to the 4, so he got a yard to go. Bowl game, what are you doing?
Go for it, right? You say go for it.
I see no movement on the blue sideline. I think they're going for it. What else would you expect from Boise State the postseason?
Exactly. Right? The only thing is that they're going to do the old Statue of Liberty play, right?
It's a little early for a post-Statue of Liberty touchdown proposal for the girlfriend. Boise State has not been good on fourth down, just 2 of 16. Oh. on the boot, in the middle, complete to the tight end. The stop just short of the goal line is Alec Danens, but Danens does have the first down. It'll be first and goal for the Broncos.
I think Alexander Madison went the wrong way here in the backfield. They were fortunate. Watch him. He goes one way, the quarterback goes the other. They're fortunate here that the experience of Rypien, he doesn't panic or give up on the play. Eventually finds his tight end, and they pick up that first down on fourth down. Uh-oh, quick huddle.
Now put him in the spin cycle, flip it out to Rypien, and he tumbles into the end zone. Touchdown, Boise State.
Was that style points? I mean, it didn't really do anything. It was just like we have to live up to our reputation almost. Pre-snap, all four guys just kind of flip around, and then they get the ball out to the receivers. Again, you know, I don't know what this is. Here we go. Here we go.
It's Vegas, baby. A little showbiz, a little entertainment, sweetheart. A little pirouette.
LC would have loved that.
Oh, yeah. That one was for you, Lee Corso. Entertainment time. And Wolfen, highly entertained by scoring, and Boise State has jumped on top of Oregon 7-0. Boise State just finished off 13-play, 67-yard drive, ate up more than 5 minutes. Broncos trying to beat a Power 5 opponent for the first time this year and dating to the bowl game loss to Baylor last year. They've lost their last 3, but an impressive opening drive for them after keeping Oregon from getting a first down. Boise kicks off for the second time today. And for the second time, we'll have a touchback as we go down to the field in Molly McGrath.
Well, Reese, Royce Freeman immediately went to running back Tony Brooks-James after Oregon's first drive. He gave him advice and has been in the ear of all the offensive players so far. And before the game, he even got in the middle of the team huddle and gave encouragement and a speech to the team. And Justin Herbert told me if they can't have him on the field, they need his leadership and his coaching on the sideline. They've at least had that so far.
Molly, thank you. Find it a little unusual, frankly, that after making the decision not to play, which is certainly well within his rights, if that's what he wants to do, that taking that kind of role at the moment. Herbert going to try to get the arm loose, finds a little running room up the middle, and Justin slips through one tackle and picks up about 7.
But you think of Oregon, you think of these pretty uniforms, and they're going to spread you out and they're going to throw. They can run the ball. I mean, that could become a strength of theirs, especially behind the big left tackle, Crosby.
Herbert fires complete. First down for the Ducks. Dylan Mitchell making the catch. Those 17 passes defended that Molly mentioned led the Pac-12. But he hadn't caught one, intercepted one since 2015.
If you're an Oregon fan, you got to like to see a couple things. A couple conversions and then the tempo. When Oregon's going, they've got their tempo going. And the first couple plays, we really hadn't seen much of that because they haven't had a chance to get a first down. But their first couple first downs, right away, Herbert's back up to the line of scrimmage, trying to get Boise State a little bit more on their heels. But for all the fanfare of Justin Herbert and all the talk about Oregon and how they throw the ball, they're not very gifted at wide receiver. Their bread and butter has been running the football. They spread you out to run the ball, and I'm surprised they've really been trying to throw here as much as they have.
They don't necessarily have the really big target. A lot of speedy, shifty guys at receiver, certainly guys who can run, including that guy in the backfield. And Tony Brooks-James didn't hold on to it. The ball's loose. Let's see if they're going to call it a catch and say he never held on to it. The officials are saying fumble and giving Boise the ball, but I'm sure they'll look at it again. You know who's in the middle of it. Leighton Vander Esch was the guy.
Smart thing for the officials. Allowed it to be a catch, and it could be considered a fumble. They can always review it. And there's Vander Esch. Again, that big middle linebacker in space against the quickest Oregon running back. Closes that gap, that space that he had to defend there, and then technically is perfect in trying to make that tackle and pops the ball out. So far, they're not reviewing this.
We'll have a look. Vander Esch is right on him. It looked like a catch. They held on to it, and another forced turnover. A Boise team that only forced 9 last year now gets its 23rd this season. They've changed it. Here's some trickery. Cedric Wilson, who's never thrown an incomplete pass off a trick play at Boise. He was 4 for 4. Looked for somebody, didn't have it, and pulled it down.
We keep waiting for that Boise State play, and that was it. That was, if Oregon wouldn't have stayed back, that would have been where Cozart throws the ball out there to Wilson, and Wilson, because it was a lateral, he's looking right away to throw downfield. But Oregon, nice job of staying back and staying disciplined there on defense.
Turnovers have loomed large. Oregon came up with one to stop a threat. Mario Cristobal trying to get the offense rolling. Rypien throws it down the middle. Wilson is knocked down quickly as Troy Dye making the tackle. A little different area of the field with soft tosses into the end zone. Recipe for trouble. Happened in our game and in this one. This one's on the money. Wilson's on his way. Rypien to Wilson. Cedric Wilson, touchdown.
Absolutely perfect job here by Boise State. Set up a rub route by Daynez. Big tight end right here. Watch him work to the middle. And he's almost about to size up the Oregon defender that's running with Cedric Wilson. He gets him just enough to have to get him off of his ability to stay with the receiver, and he just couldn't stay with him. But a nice crossing route, kind of a rub. If you're a defensive player, you'd call it an illegal pick.
Hey, that's exactly what Brian Harsin and Zach Hill said they had to do to get guys open. They wanted to be creative. They got tough, made the turnover, and then Wilson paid it off with a touchdown catch. 14-zip Boise. Brian Harsin, of course, the former coach at Arkansas State. That's where he got his first head coaching job. Was there for a year before the Boise State job opened. And a good way to keep those dangerous return men from Oregon busy is make sure they have to kneel in the end zone. They'll have it on the 25.
In the pregame, Royce Freeman, who is healthy and has had an incredible career as an Oregon running back, one of the best ever play for Oregon, he got in the middle of the Oregon team to rally the troops to get them ready for this bowl game. And Oregon may come back and win this game, but the way they've started, I don't know necessarily if that's a great recipe for a winning opportunity to have a guy that's healthy who's skipping a bowl game because he's getting ready for the draft to be out there and he's doing his best to help provide some leadership. But head coach leaves, new coach is in, and you got a guy that's healthy that's not playing in a bowl game that tries to get his team fired up. I mean, if I were a senior, I'd probably say, hey man, we love you, but go over on the sideline. Let us get the team ready.
It's been a tumultuous few days for Oregon for sure. It was an emotional departure for both Willie Taggart. And look, it wasn't all seashells and balloons from the Oregon players either. Many were really upset with Taggart for the way it was handled, and they wanted Cristobal, but they haven't exactly come out. And another football on the ground, and Boise's all over it if they can corral it. And Boise State has knocked another one loose, and Tyson Maeva scooped it up, and the Broncos are threatening to turn this into a blowout.
As I studied film this week, one of the guys that just stood out to me was this true freshman, Kaniho, 28. He's a nickelback. He's 5'10" and 175 pounds. And they blitz him here, and he gets to the quarterback. Herbert, no awareness to feel that pressure. And the undersized nickel gets in there and again knocks the ball loose. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see Boise go right to the end zone to Cedric Urban, who's at the top one-on-one. No safety behind to help him out. Take a shot.
It's a 17th forced fumble, and they've recovered 11 of them. They've just been swarming. Madison's in the game, and instead they just go straight ahead for a yard.
And that was an area that was really a problem for Boise last year. They only recovered 2 fumbles. The turnover margin was -9. They were one of the worst in the country. This year, much, much better. Not only today, it gets them up to +14 on the year, top 10 in the country. But it's just a different energy, and I think this young every player on that defense returns next year for Boise State. It's a young group.
It is amazing to look at the number of guys that they have returning. They flop tight end in the H-back again. Now motion going that way, and they'll give it on the fly sweep and a chance to throw for Cedric Wilson, and I must have jinxed him a moment ago. He'd been 4 for 4 throwing. But he wins the crossbar challenge a lot with the quarterback.
Yeah.
They'll go out there and throw at the crossbar. And Cedric, who's a really good high school quarterback, can throw it.
6 seconds remaining in this first quarter. I'm telling you, this is a huge play. Maybe it ends up being a sequence of plays. Boise State potentially going for a knockout shot here in the first quarter. Oregon's defense has got to step up. This feels like one of those bowl games where one team wants to be here and the other one doesn't.
Rypien got drilled. Now the ball's free. Was out a fumble. Now the Ducks have an opportunity. And roaring the other way is Henry Mondu, but now they're saying incomplete pass. The pressure was coming from Jonah Moy.
Jonah Moy, nice job here. He's really one of the better defensive pressures, one of the better pressures getting all year at the quarterback has been Moy and Hollins from that outside linebacker position. There's some energy from Oregon. That's a good job there by Moy on third down, getting after him.
First quarter's been all Boise. The Las Vegas Bowl and ABC will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station. Welcome back to the 2017 Las Vegas Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Mania. First play of the second quarter is coming, and Boise State is lining up for a field goal. Their field goal kicker is Hayden Hogarth, the walk-on who started his career at Bethune-Cookman. He's been very reliable, particularly on short field goals. 17 of 21 on the season and 4 of 5 from this range. This one a 37-yard attempt, assuming there's no trickery at foot. Kick on the way, and this one is true. Boise State pushes the lead to 17-0, and they keep the Ducks offense sleepy.
Boise State taking on Oregon. There's Moore over the middle, wide open, touchdown. Moore goes down the field, has a receiver caught. Oregon dominated by Boise State.
Moore has a man wide open, touchdown. Blunt on the handoff, that's going to be a safety. A lot of animosity on the field. LeGarrette Blunt nailing Byron Hout right on the chin.
They've only played 2 times, but both have been memorable. Both Boise State wins, one in Kellen Moore's first road start and the other in Chip Kelly's first game on the blue. And unlike LeGarrette Blunt and Byron Hout, Duck fans, Bronco fans, can sit together peacefully. There was a lot of trash talked in that first game in Eugene. And if you remember, that's been several years ago, 2008, 2009 seasons. Blunt said leading up to the trip to Boise that they owed him a backside whipping, and they didn't get it, but punch that continues to get played, even though these guys were grade school or junior high. They've all seen it. They remember it. They know about it. Certainly Justin Herbert does. I mean, he grew up an Oregon fan, grew up about a mile from Autzen Stadium, kid from Eugene. A poignant moment at the coin toss for this Las Vegas Bowl. That is Riley Golgard, who's walking out to participate in the coin toss and do the ceremonial toss to start. She was one of the 546 people injured in the Las Vegas shooting back on October 1st. 58 people were killed in that tragedy. It's something that continues to be in the minds of not only the people of Las Vegas, but all of us. A terrible, inexplicable tragedy. It was great to see Riley walking. That was the first time publicly she had been able to do that. Good gain on first down to Nelson as we check in with Molly again.
Yeah, Reese, senior left tackle Tyrell Crosby is a Las Vegas area native, and he switched jersey numbers today, wearing number 58 to honor the 58 lives lost in the Las Vegas shooting. When talking about it with me, he got emotional. He cheered up, saying this game means the world to him. It's a way of representing those who've lost their lives.
And botched the handoff attempt on a high snap, but Herbert's going to make something out of it. And Justin Herbert and out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Molly last night saying that if this were a different bowl game, because Tyrell Crosby, much like Royce Freeman, has NFL aspirations, might not be playing, but here's him going to work. A guy who hasn't allowed a sack all year, hasn't allowed a quarterback hit, according to some, but clearing the way on the broken play. Johnny Johnson trying to get up close to the 50. Ducks trying to, they won't get any points for it, but they're just trying to cross into Boise territory for the first time today.
And Mario Cristobal says, it says a lot because of where he played at Miami, the players he played with throughout his coaching stops. He says that Tyrell Crosby, the best offensive lineman that he's seen or been around, period. I think that says a lot about the respect he has for him.
A lot of heat on Herbert. That looks like an interception, and it's going the other way. Looks like a pick six, and Kekala Kaniho. Touchdown, Boise State.
Justin Herbert just throws this ball out into the flat, and the receiver, you know, he's creating, he's improvising. The receiver, Charles Nelson, goes downfield. Instead of cutting out, it's easy to look at Herbert and say, what's he doing? But I'm up here thinking, where's Charles Nelson going? As his quarterback is starting to scramble for his life, he needs to come back to him instead of turning and going downfield. So a miscommunication. And Kaniho, who has his second interception, is just sitting right there, steps in front of it and says, thank you very much. Take that for a touchdown.
It has been a colossal fail of a first half for the Oregon offense. Their fourth turnover just resulted in a pick six. Justin Herbert throwing the pick. Kekala Kaniho putting Boise State up 24-0. There is some historical words of hope as they give it on fly sweep to Jalen Red 2 years ago in this bowl game. BYU turned it over 5 times in the first half, fell behind Utah 35-0. They didn't win. They came back to make it a 35-28 game. So
you're trying to keep the crowd excited here. People watching back home.
Got to give Apple Green some hope here, Herbie. hasn't gone well here in the first half. Boise State has been really impressive.
I mean, that's the thing, is it's easy to sit here and look at Herbert and Oregon's offense and say, what's wrong? But Boise State deserves a lot of credit here for the preparation of getting ready to play in this bowl game. They have not crossed midfield yet, and 4.5 minutes to go in the first half. But everything you're thinking, okay, they got to be able to run the ball. Can't run the ball. Got to get the ball out in space. You got a lot of quick guys out in space. They're making tackles in space. Everything they've tried, Boise State has defended.
Andy Avalos, the defensive coordinator for Boise State. Had a spectacular first half. Herbert, there's another big hit on the quarterback. Nobody open. Pressure coming. Leighton Vander Esch again.
And, you know, they try to block him. This gives you an idea of his athletic ability, is watch how he's able to get in and go over top of the back who steps up. The back does a nice job of stepping up right there, submarines him, but instead of him just accepting that and using his hands, look at the athletic ability. Up and over him, and then comes up with a sack. One thing Herbert has not done a good job of is a kind of a presence in the pocket of feeling that pressure and getting rid of the football.
You know, the awards we've talked about Vander Esch winning this year, hasn't won enough. Williams muffs the punt. And everything's going the Broncos' way as Boise State falls on it. DeAndre Pierce there to grab it, son of Antonio Pierce, former New York Giant.
This is just what Oregon needed. This is one way to get into plus territory. Let Boise State fumble it and try to recover it. But Pierce heads up, does a good job of getting back there and jumping on top of the football. By the way, Brian Harsin, 3:21 to go in the first half. They're not thinking, all right, let's just work the clock here. Oh, no. They're going to keep doing what they've been doing. They're trying to think of getting more points here. Try to get it to 31 by half.
We got Mahone in the backfield. Madison has played, who's their 1,000-yard rusher at running back, but not a lot. He's been dealing with an ankle issue. There's Mahone carrying that ball a little loosely at the beginning, but he put it away and got across the 40.
Think about what these Oregon players have been through. You know, Mark Helfrich is fired. They bring in Willie Taggart. Willie Taggart's got, you know, a lot of optimism, and they're going to recruit well, and they're going to make the most out of this year. And all of a sudden, he, at the end of it, leaves to go to Florida State. Now they're determined, this is our guy. We got to have Mario Cristobal. He's our guy. So they're trying to get ready for a bowl game, and now they're down 24. And they got assistant coaches that are down there trying to coach them. You don't know, are you going to Florida State after this game? Are you staying? Are you going?
Well, talking about Jim Leavitt. We saw Leavitt talking to Justin Herbert a minute ago, and he was disappointed not to get the job.
No, my point is these players, they're not just trying to figure things out against Boise.
Yeah.
They've been dealing with a lot. That's the defensive coordinator who wanted the head coaching job talking to the quarterback. When was the last time you saw a defensive coordinator talking to the quarterback like that?
Big hole up the middle for Madison as he rumbles inside the 30.
They run that counter play. The right side of the offensive line collapses Oregon's D-line and opens up the easy lanes for those big boys to pull around.
You want to talk about a demoralizing touchdown, as if the entire first half hasn't been demoralizing for the Ducks. You let the Broncos put another one on the board and go to the half at 31.
Irvin back in up at the top.
Cedric Wilson has checked back in at the top. It was good to see him there. Coming up on the Mercedes-Benz halftime report, Kevin Nagandi, Booger McFarland, and Matt Brown. Let you know what's going on. Bulls really getting cranked up today. Full slate on ABC and on ESPN.
Brian Harsin still the 2 timeouts.
Good protection for Rypien right on the money, and it'll be a first down inside the 15. And Wilson appears to be healthy enough, maybe a tad.
Watch the patience here by Rypien. Waits again, all kinds of time, but puts it right where it has to be. Relationship in the work that Brett Rypien and Cedric Wilson have put in over these last 3 years. You can just see when you give him time to throw and you don't take away Wilson, they're gonna make that happen. I think they also, the play calling from Zach Hill opened up a little bit more instead of being so conservative, and I think that's where the offense started to really take off.
All right, now look at this one, Herbie. Both quarterbacks in there together. We've seen this on tape quite a bit. Rypien taking the snap. Cozart's in motion.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Statue of Liberty working, and the Ducks have it. And Troy Dye keep his feet. That might be the break they needed. Troy Dye. I got your Statue of Liberty, and I'm taking it the other way. Touchdown, Oregon.
As much as we appreciate Boise State and some of these tricks, does this one come back to backfire on them? Got up into the face mask of Mahone, who's a freshman, and Troy Dye, who's been the kind of the catalyst of this defense most of the year. #1 on the team in tackles, picks that ball up and shows he's got the speed to take it all the way to the end zone. And yeah, you're right. 24-0, about to feel like it's either going to be 27 or 31-0 at the half, and instead 24-7. Huge turnaround for Oregon.
Every now and then, got to be careful getting cute.
Yeah. But it's easy to say that when it doesn't work.
For sure.
You know.
Because sometimes it does work, and it kind of makes you a legend, as it's happened for Ian Johnson. Up for just a second right after Troy grabbed it. He stumbled just a little. Able to keep his feet. Man, oh man, did Oregon need that. And now they're back in the game. Starting to feel the vibe here in Vegas, but still down 17. This has still been all Boise State in the first half. Avery Williams. Williams gets up close to the 30-yard line. 32 seconds remaining here in the first half. Rypien trying to get it back, and he's got his man. It's Wilson, Cedric Wilson inside the 10.
Thomas Graham, the freshman, has been tested, and you didn't see Wilson is down. But look at this. He's tested pretty good position. The ball is just perfectly thrown. And there's the speed there by Wilson. Despite the injury, whatever is hampering him and slowing him down, he had enough speed to be able to go by Graham just enough. But the ball by Brett Rypien could not have been placed into the arms. He couldn't have handed it better to Wilson than the way he threw that.
Picked up 66 And the ball's on the 6, first and goal. So many teams and coaches. Look, I understand it's a bowl game. Maybe you let it all fly here. You have that disastrous play on the other end. You give up the defensive touchdown. Instead, you come back and you take a shot, and it pays off.
Yep.
Now we'll see how the Broncos are able to pay it off.
Remember, a lot of rub routes down in this area. Like to try to use the receivers to try to get into the way of a defender.
Also, remember the timeouts are gone, and there's another interception. And now Oregon has an opportunity. Going the other way is number 2, Tyree Robinson. He's on his way to the house. End-to-end consecutive huge plays by the Oregon defense on consecutive drives, and the Ducks are back in this thing.
Well, just when you talk about Rypien doing a good job, I just said look out for the rub route. That's exactly what Richardson works to the inside, but give Oregon credit and Tyree Robinson credit for not getting picked, not getting in the way. Watch how he kind of does a good job of being able to get over top of the rub and then steps in front of it. Brett Rypien anticipated and hoped that the rub would work, instead of waiting to make sure and then throwing it. He just kind of threw it out there thinking that Robinson would be impacted, and he wasn't.
We'll get you to the studio Mercedes-Benz halftime report right after this messages and a word from our ABC stations and what's turned into a good one. Welcome back to the 2007 Las Vegas Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Mania. Bizarre first half in Vegas, to say the least. Things got all flipped around, turned upside down, as it were. 24-0 Boise State had the lead. The ball looked like they were getting more. And in half a minute, Oregon scored 2 defensive touchdowns, basically end-to-end.
Yeah.
Whole field. Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Molly McGrath with you. So, look, you look at the stats, it could be awful for Oregon. Now, second half, they're in the game.
When was the last time you did a game where you had a team had 4 turnovers, hadn't crossed midfield, 77 yards of offense, and they're down and they're down by 10? They're still right there with striking distance.
When you have those types of numbers and you haven't been able to run the ball, and this is a team with Justin Herbert at quarterback that's been averaging 550 yards a game when he's been able to play. And they have 77 in the first half. They're only down 10.
And listen, it's easy. We keep talking about it. It's easy to knock on Oregon and say what the heck's going on with their offense. But I think it's very important to talk about the preparation of Boise State, and they have as much to do with it as Oregon lacking execution, at least in the first half. It's always could be a different game here to start this second half.
Well, the turnovers were very costly for Boise State, though they controlled really the first half. They started the second half picking up 4 as we take a look at some of the things we were just talking about in the Pacific Life Game Summit.
Yeah, Boise, they did everything that they needed to. They were able to build that big lead. They're up 24-0. It looked like they might be up 31-0 after this interception, but this is a turning point. They're inside the red zone, 15-yard line. Try to trick play, Statue of Liberty, ball goes on the ground, and leader Troy Dye picks it up all the way back for a touchdown, and Boise State comes back with a big play, and then Tyree Robinson with a pick 6 to get the Ducks within 10 before the half.
Open out of the backfield and up close to the 40. It'll be a first down for Boise State, and those great plays by the Oregon defense, Kirk, doesn't change the fact that Boise State was by far the better team in the first half.
Yeah, and with that being said, I think with a veteran like Rypien, and he's been in and out because they continue to bring in Cozart from time to time, but he's hit some big plays. They've had some explosives, but if I'm Brian Harsin, I need him to be consistent with his decisions and with his accuracy throwing the football.
Mahone stretched it out too far, and Samson New was the player who almost got Mahone in the backfield on third down and missed him. This time he didn't.
Yeah, you don't have electrifying speed. It's really hard for Boise State to go sideways, to go left and right. You have this kind of speed out here, and your defensive backs have great speed, and New is a freshman at 6'1", 215, but has quickness of a safety. Mahone tried to bounce it outside and ends up losing a lot of yards.
Second down and 15 facing Rypien. Jelks trying to apply some heat. Wilson Sees the ball before the defender and goes and makes the play. Working on Diamador Lenore, and Wilson saw the ball coming and just showed that veteran savvy to get to it.
And we just talked about the body control, the way he's able to read the ball. He comes back. The freshman never found the football. Lenore never saw it, but the veteran Wilson sees it, adjusts back, and is able to make that catch. That's what I'm saying. Like, some guys just naturally, when the ball's in the air, they just have it. They know how to be able to find the ball and catch it. Some guys, it's a lot tougher to do.
Pick up at 30. Mahomes straight ahead. And he gets it down around the 20-yard line. Pick up of 6, maybe 7 on the play.
Yeah, Oregon defense, they've been rotating some guys in and out. Sampson New, who made that big play.
This will be the 32nd play Boise has run in Duck territory. That's one more play than the Ducks offense has run the whole game.
So you got a linebacker right here, Leatu, who hasn't played a lot of football.
And Mahone is hit quickly. Jimmy Swain was one of the first ones there to make the stop. Molly, what do you have on the Duck injury situation?
Yeah, a lot of injuries down here, Reese. Troy Dye went back to the locker room because he is dehydrated. So they're remedying that situation. He is expected back, as you said.
3rd down and 4. Rypien to the outside. He has his man complete. Steps out of bounds at the 15, and it'll be a 1st down. Sean Modster had a big catch in the first half. He picks up the 1st down for the Broncos.
Yeah, they've talked about how he's been a little bit more committed in practice second half of the season, and with that commitment, he's become a more consistent route runner, and I think Brett Rypien trusts him more. And for him on a pivotal 3rd down here deep in Oregon territory to dial him up, clearly feels good about what he's seeing. They ran a nice route and had nice hands.
First order of business for the Broncos since they're in the red zones to take care of the football. 3 turnovers in the red zone today. Kept Oregon in the game. Wolpen picks up a couple.
Remember, Reese, this Oregon defense that was challenged time after time in the first half. I know they scored the 2 touchdowns, but I don't know how many times we watched him, not only with the turnover with Springs and the interception, but forcing field goals, 37 to 40-yard field goals, and just kind of keeping them in the game, keeping them believing. And we keep saying it, can they do it again? But they're put in that position again, and they're inside their own red zone where they got to come up with a stop. Very least try to force a field goal.
Rypien finds his tight end cutting underneath, staying on his feet, headed toward the pylon. Touchdown, Alec Dayens. How about the agility from Alec Dayens keeping his feet?
That's a heck of a job by Dayens, but a horrible job by Arion Springs. This is textbook you see in college football a lot by defensive backs, using his shoulder and not wrapping up. You saw him pat his chest saying, my fault, and the reason he's saying it, he's in great position right there. Just wrap up, but I know he's a big tight end. At 6'3", 250 pounds, and you're undersized, but you still have got to be able to wrap up there and give yourself a chance. He hits him and then doesn't wrap up, and the good player's going to bounce off that and score a touchdown.
Dayens, an inline tight end. The last part of the season has provided explosive plays. Nice little spin move. Boise pushes the lead back to 17. During all of the festivities of Bowl Week, players and staffers from Boise State and Oregon assisted the Goody Two Shoes Foundation, providing hundreds of disadvantaged kids in the Vegas area with shoes, socks, toys, and other things they need. Several kids out here at Sam Boyd Stadium enjoying the game. Those wearing blue and orange, much happier, but Oregon not happy with this effort.
Yeah, this is 2nd down and long. Right here, Springs makes that tackle right there. 1st down markers all the way here. You're looking at a 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 if he makes that tackle. Keep in mind, it was 24-0. You score 14 unanswered on defense to get yourself back in the game. And it's the first series to start the 2nd half. Missed tackle ends up costing them.
Charles Nelson going to try the return. They've been touchbacks all day, and Nelson's a dangerous guy. But Ducks still trying for their first snap in Boise territory. 6 yards away from the Hallelujah land. And now maybe 7 or 8.
They've got some speed up front.
Benoit just got knocked down That was Chase Tata.
Tata can move up front. Look at him close down from the backside. I mean, Benoit's thinking about play side, and the speed from the backside ends up blowing that play up.
Herbert throws it out, and there it is. Oregon is into Boise State territory. A catch by Johnny Johnson, the freshman.
Now you want to see tempo. I mean, you get a first down, you're in Boise State territory. When Oregon is really going, if you go back and watch Herbert, when they're averaging 50 a game, they get their tempo going, and they get a defense confused by the tempo and the different looks.
Everybody had on headgears. Those weren't exactly UFC punches.
No, but usually official sees any attempt at all to swing at another player. That's 15 yards. Unable to run the ball. Just amazed at the line of scrimmage. Oregon 39 yards running. And I know the game started to get away from them. They started to throw. But they have gotten whipped up front.
A tackle in the open field. Benoit making the catch. Avery Williams, who took that punch a minute ago, delivers a shot of his own.
Yeah, Boise continues with Andy Avalos playing very, very focused, disciplined football, whether the run or the pass. Oregon, they've tried to run with those 22 attempts, but and when this offense can't run the ball, there's so much of play action off of it. It could be in for a long day, and that's what we've seen.
Final seconds of the third quarter. Herbert firing and knocked down. Jordan Happel had a pick earlier, makes another good play.
That's a great example of just knowing the down and the distance and kind of anticipating a route on 3rd and 7 or 8 that the route's going to be about 8 or 9 yards. So instead of being worried about going downfield, you cheat up a little bit and you're able to be in position. So when he turns at that 8 or 9 yard mark, you're already coming forward and you're able to get your arm around and knock that ball away. That's just little things that go a long way in playing defensive back.
Adam Stack punted away again for the Ducks. Clock's going to hit 0 here in the third quarter. Williams, pretty good decoy to let the ball bounce into the end zone, and the third quarter comes to an end. Boise State in control, 31-14 over Oregon. The Las Vegas Bowl on ABC will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station. Fourth quarter about to start here in Las Vegas. Mario Cristobal imploring his team to finish down 17 as we start the final period.
Well, this is his first speech to his new team to start a fourth quarter. They just happened to be down by 17, but he left a program in Alabama with Nick Saban and Scott Cochran. They prided themselves on the fourth quarter, and it's, I'm sure, ingrained in him. So he's trying to make sure his team understands what this fourth quarter needs to be about.
First play of the fourth quarter is Robert Mahone, the redshirt freshman, carrying. Let's look at today's keys to the game, brought to you by Franklin American Mortgage Company.
And for me, Boise State, just keep doing what you've been doing for 3 quarters. Finish strong, playing incredibly well on both sides, other than the turnovers late in the first half. And Oregon, how will they finish under their new head coach? It's not just about tonight in the Las Vegas Bowl. This is about setting a tone for an offseason and leading into 2018.
On second down, Rypien across the middle. Nice grab. And Molly, what's going on the Boise sideline?
Well, the message here is this is our last quarter of football in a long time. You don't want that bad taste in your mouth again. Obviously referring to last year's bowl loss. That's one thing that Brian Harsin has been harping with his team all week.
Molly, I called that game last year in the Cactus Bowl, Boise State against Baylor, and it was a very un-Boise-like performance. Baylor ripped through them, and it's been a little bit of a sticking point. Really, the Broncos, including that game, had lost their previous 3 games against Power 5 opponents. It's a power run. We'll pick up the first down from Ryan Wolpen. But Harsin, by tonight, is going to be back in Boise, and he's going to be recruiting. And he didn't make any bones about the fact that he felt as if this game, for anybody sitting on the fence worrying about Boise, if they could perform well, it could help them in recruiting, especially with that early signing period.
Absolutely. A big opportunity to be on this stage against a Power 5 school. And up to this point, they have taken full advantage of that now into the fourth quarter. Should be said about Boise State's offense this year. Remember, they had a bunch of new faces around Brett Rypien and Cedric Wilson. A lot of these other guys haven't really played a ton of football. Worst rushing performance as a team since going all the way back to 1993, where they averaged 98 yards a game. 1993. So since they've been FBS, the Boise that we all know now nationally, and so for them to come all the way through that, and you can see today, I mean, they like to throw the ball, but they're better now at running the ball than they were early in the year.
Rypien reloads, gets outside the pocket, and throws it away.
Now this is a young team that Brian Harsin, somehow he got this team to be able to get to a Mountain West Conference championship. They bring most of this entire team back. Pretty balanced play calling by Harsin and Zach Hill today. The production much bigger, clearly through the air.
Oregon's been a really good rush defense for the most part this year. Stanford got after them pretty good with Bryce Love, but they did a really good job against Khalil Tate in Arizona. And today it's been through the air. They take care of that flip to the running back in very short order. Mahone had it, and Jelks was there almost as soon as he caught the ball.
Yep, pressure got in, but Jelks, I think, anticipated, kind of felt that coming the whole time. Play never really had a chance.
But it keeps the clock moving. Nothing dreadful happened, as Boise had happened a couple of times at the end of the first half. If you didn't see, the 14 Oregon has on the board, all courtesy of its defense. 86-yard fumble return on a botched Statue of Liberty play and a 100-yard interception, all within a 30-second span right at the end of the first half. Maybe special teams could help out the Ducks here. Dylan Mitchell has a nice return up to about the 22. That's where the Ducks will be in business when you come back to Las Vegas.
I'm about to hit the Vegas Strip in a three-wheeled auto cycle. This is a Polaris slingshot, and Kurt's going to take me for a ride. This isn't a bad way to explore the Las Vegas Strip, that's for sure. Thanks so much to Kurt at Adrenaline Rush Slingshot. I was able to hear, smell, and see all the sights of Las Vegas. That was the best way to experience it all in one sitting, and I felt like I was in the Batmobile, guys.
Are you going to get yourself one of those, Molly, for home?
Let's talk to our bosses about a little pay raise for that, guys.
Justin Herbert slingshots out to the edge and scampers out close to the 40, but there's a flag down.
Holding. Defense, number 15. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Well, this one goes against the Broncos. A positive start to this drive for Oregon. Look, Oregon's offense has performed poorly, largely because Boise State's defense has performed so well. But there's still a lot of time left in this game.
11:47, obviously not only trying to get back from 17, but the clock as well.
Fly sweep. There's the freshman Jalen Redd.
You know, tempo is a big part of their offense. So there should be a comfort level in getting lined up and getting able to get the ball snapped quickly. Big thing, you want to see your receivers. They got to win some one-on-one battles to give Herbert a chance.
Herbert looking, firing to the outside. Mitchell has it. He shakes off one guy before he's dragged out of bounds. It'll be a first down for the Ducks.
Yeah, he had Jalen Redd there on a quick slant, number 30, wide open. I think he was locked in to Mitchell, and give Mitchell a lot of credit after the catch, making the defender miss and picking up first down.
Mitchell and Cedric Wilson from the same high school, White Station in Memphis, Tennessee. As Benoit gets inside the 35.
I think it's important for Boise, Reese. You know, it's a little bit of a different mindset when you're up by 17 and you're in the fourth quarter, but you don't want to lose what has allowed you to dominate the game. It's one thing to be smart and keep everything in front, but you don't want to lose your aggressiveness, which has been such a big part of their performance today.
Mitchell has it again. Blocker out in front of him. McCormick got a body on one guy to help him out. Boise State able to stop it before too big a game. Kekoa Nawahine on the tackle. Third down and short. Herbert. Oh, and dropped. Had the first down, potentially a touchdown, and it was Cam McCormick who just couldn't hang on to it.
That's the second time we've seen him with a chance to make a big play, and he drops the ball. This is kind of Oregon. When you think of Herbert, you think of those seam routes. You think of him throwing the ball perfectly in stride to a receiver or a tight end and getting big chunks of yards, and that time the freshman tight end unable to hold on to it.
A costly drop. Ducks need a yard. This has been a problem earlier today. Again, they'll roll Herbert. He's in trouble. He gets away. Can he get to the stick? He does, but barely. Just barely getting the first down. Van Der Esch is all over it.
Maeva almost got him short, and he's got good speed for an undersized linebacker. And then Van Der Esch, the other linebacker, eventually chases him down. He got to him, and he thought, wow, you're big. 6'6", 225.
Herbert to the end zone again. Touchdown, Brendan Schooler. The former defensive back turned back wide receiver. Makes the touchdown, grab him with the extra point. It's going to be a 10-point game.
Yeah, it's a nice drive by Herbert and Oregon. 7 plays, 78 yards, under 2 minutes. Most importantly, you can see Boise State brought pressure. They brought the blitz. One of the few times we've seen the secondary out of position. Avery Williams, the freshman, goes to the inside and leaves Schooler all alone to the corner of the end zone.
Third touchdown catch of the season for Schooler. Extra point is true, and just over 10 minutes to play. We have a 10-point game. Will we have a finish? Oh, Oregon's ready to roll the dice. Try to give them a run in Vegas. That entertainment to you during the breaks. They have entertainment on stage down there with a Cirque du Soleil type acts or the King of Rock and Roll. They're just singing Viva Las Vegas. Up here, Herbie was singing along. You an Elvis fan, Herbie?
Oh, yeah. Early Elvis.
Okay.
How about you? You're all over
Absolutely.
it. You're all over it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, I think you know every song.
I know most of them. I do. That is true. Boise State let it bounce into the end zone. And the Oregon offense still has just over 200 total yards, responsible for only one of the touchdowns. That's a huge first down and a completion to the young receiver, C.T. Thomas.
Which usually means a coach is gone when he says, I'm focused on this game. Good job by the offensive line giving him time. He doesn't panic. He almost checked it down to his back Woolpen, but instead, that's the experience of a quarterback, a 3-year guy that's been around. He's about to check it down. Think about it. He's back there 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. A lot of guys want to bail and take off. Instead, he waits to eventually find the freshman Thomas, who's just sitting there in the zone in a soft spot, and they pick up a huge first down to work more clock.
His 14th career 300-yard game for Brett Rypien. Picked up 22 on 3rd and 9. Woolpen with a short gain as we check in with Kevin Nagandi.
Reese, let's take a look at some other games going on ESPN. Gilda, New Mexico Bowl. Tied up Marshall and Colorado State, and Keon Davis getting the call for the Thundering Herd. Out-racing and out-muscling Colorado State. Get off me. The touchdown there. Right now, that's the difference early parts of the second half. Back to you guys.
See, a couple junkies like us will go watch that second half when we get done here.
Yeah, well, we will. The kid looked like a rolling bowling ball of butcher knives there, cutting through. Another strong run from Boise State, Robert Mahone. And now Boise State starting to put a chokehold on this game as we head down toward the 5-minute mark once the clock winds, and it does after the change are set on the first down.
Puts a lot on an offensive line when you're in this mode. You know, you're getting under 5 minutes. You got a 10-point lead. Oregon knows you're going to run the ball. Everybody in the stadium knows you're going to run the ball, and to be able to still be able to get some positive yards and pick up first downs, really on the backs of those offensive linemen.
Mahone stays in the game at running back for Boise. The pistol look. Mahone hit in the backfield. Initially, Lamar Winston was the first guy there. That helped to get him down.
Mario Cristobal used his second timeout.
Oregon needs a stop. They need it twice. Boise trying to finish it up 10.
And we thought we might have a interesting second half, and Oregon got it close. I mean, they're still within 10, but it's been a big drive right here for Boise State to try to put the game away.
Rypien showing a little bit of running ability to keep the clock moving, and the last timeout called by the Ducks.
You always wonder about strategy when you have 2 timeouts. How are you going to end up using those last 2 timeouts? Do you try to get a stop, and hold on to them, or do you use them? And he's elected to use them. They're out of timeouts, and puts everything on this drive right here, this play, really.
Okay, assuming that Boise State's able to hang on for the last 4 minutes and change here and they get the win, seems to me that they've really set the table to be the team to watch from outside the Power 5 next year. They've got a great opportunity to make some of those runs we've seen in years past.
Yeah, I mean, next year, that's why I think people sometimes underestimate. You play in a bowl game like this and you win against a team like Oregon, builds a little bit of momentum and awareness for next year. You play Troy first, then they play Oklahoma State on the road in Stillwater. That's when you're a group of 5 and you wonder, why don't we get more respect? That's how you do it. UCF this year. Imagine if they had a chance to play Oklahoma State in the non-conference, what that could do for them.
UCF was trying to play Georgia Tech. A game called off because of the hurricane. Rypien throwing deep and lays it right in there to Wilson again. Let me tell you something. Those two, they are, it's like a telepathic connection on that route and that throw.
Yeah, they've done it. They've done it all day. They've done it throughout the last few years. But you maybe haven't seen a ton of Cedric Wilson. It's a shame because he's one of the top receivers in the country. A tall guy at 6'3", body control. This is about the ball, the placement of the ball away to the outside shoulder, away from the defender, perfectly placed over the receiver's shoulder and Wilson. And you're right, the relationship is very evident between Rypien and Cedric Wilson.
221 yards receiving for Cedric Wilson. They wanted to get him the ball, and boy, have they. Rypien headed down close to the goal line. Did they stop him just short? I think they did. He rolled into the end zone and have another half yard to go. Ducks out of timeouts.
Oregon's defense been making big plays. He's down. He's short. Ball is just short.
Just a hair.
Yeah.
That's all right. Give it back to him, right?
They put the ball at the 1. If anything, it looks like it's about maybe the 4-inch line.
I was going to say they might have shorted him 3/4 of a yard there. Might not matter. 2nd and goal. And Rypien is stopped short. But Boise State's best friend is that clock, and it keeps winding down now, under 3 minutes to go. So Boise State about to move to 4-0 in the Vegas Bowl all time, and perhaps even more impressively, 4-1 against opponents who were in Pac-12 at the time in postseason play. Ducks fans exhorting that defense, show a little pride, which they certainly have all day. Look at there's the pirouette move. Now we're going to a pirouette and a couple of dance steps. They scored off that pirouette move earlier, and there's the knockout punch. Rypien goes in. Yabba-dabba-doo, I guess, for Boise's Fred Flintstone. And Rypien, the 5th-year senior, tough guy with Alexander Madison still nursing that ankle, has been a workhorse today, getting the tough yards while Wilson has made the explosive plays on the outside at receiver.
Just an impressive performance by Boise coming into this bowl game. You always wonder about incentive and who might be fired up and who might not be. Boise State, the execution on offense, the deep ball. I mean, Rypien, think about his journey that he's been through this year. At one point benched. It looked like he wouldn't be able to have the same kind of year, and ends up fighting through that adversity, has a very solid year, and very fitting for him to go out this year anyway.
Yeah,
as a junior, 362 yards through the air, a couple scores. Cedric Wilson, that you mentioned, at 221 yards through the air, just receiving. So just a great job by their offense, but Also, their defense put it on all day long.
Is this ready for Vegas? Yeah. Are they in sync enough in step?
I thought that was good.
The choreography is excellent.
Put them up on the stage.
And here's the one earlier in which Wolpen scored a touchdown. This was the first touchdown of the game. Backwards pass and a run. That got Boise started. They were the aggressor for most of the day. Oregon showed some heart, particularly on defense. And I don't want to make excuses for the Ducks. You have to show up and play. But they've been through a lot. I mean, with the coaching changes over the last calendar year, not just with Willie Taggart leaving, but also with the firing of Mark Helfrich last year. Charles Nelson on the return. The real start of the Cristobal era will be in the offseason, and how that work goes and how the Ducks respond, what types of changes might be made as a result of this. Herbert throwing it deep, and Mitchell makes the catch and looked back like he was looking for somebody to come chase him, but he gets down inside the 10.
I don't know what he was doing there. He was waiting for a block or what he might be.
Or a friend to lateral it to or something.
Yeah, but Jalen Walker, again, leaving these corners on islands with the lead, and it looked like Mitchell may have run out of bounds. I don't know if he was pushed
close,
out of bounds, but he was very close to going out of bounds.
Pickup of 67. Herbert, back shoulder, and complete. And Mitchell's a good-looking young receiver, and he's having a little trouble getting to his feet. Mitchell's over 100 yards receiving himself today with 8 catches.
He had possession of it, and the ball comes out.
There's a little bobble right there.
And he ends up getting it, but by then he's out of bounds.
Feet were off the ground.
This is what I was talking about. Did he run out of bounds without being pushed?
Yeah.
He's out of bounds there. I don't know if you consider his right hand is touching him. I think he's pushing him out of bounds.
Yeah, if you're forced out of bounds and come back in immediately, you're still eligible. But if you just run out of bounds, then I think if they'd seen that one, they would have called it back, just to be candid about it. Charles Nelson going to the edge.
Pretty fitting.
Pierce with the stop.
Pretty fitting here that, as Andy Avalos told us, leverage on those outside runs is so important. Charles Nelson, one of their go-to guys, has to step out, but they're able to get out there and try to keep them from getting outflanked and into the end zone.
Herbert steps away from pressure, throws to the back of the end zone. And this time he did go out of the back of the end zone, so that's not going to count. And it's Johnny Johnson who caught him. See the official's hat down. I'm assuming they don't get together and talk it over and say that he was forced out, and that will not be a touchdown.
Illegal touching, offense number 80. Went out of bounds, came back in bounds, and was the first to touch the ball. Ball be placed at the previous spot. 4th down.
And Herbert looks like he wants to run, and at the last second sees Johnson break free. The right foot's out of bounds. I think he just lost sight of where he was and maybe the awareness of that back line. I just like the fact that Oregon's fighting for a new coach. I mean, they haven't gone away. They keep competing.
Herbert firing to the end zone, and this time it is Johnson with the catch. Or no, check that. That is 30. Red with the catch, and he got it over the goal line for the score for the Ducks. Jalen Red, impressive young player for Cristobal.
See, I mean, if you're Mario Cristobal, probably odds are you aren't going to come back and win this game. But this team could have shut things down. Many of their fans have left. I mean, they could have emotionally shut down, but they've not at all. I mean, they keep trying to get back. Last few possessions, they've done a much better job being able to get points on the board than anything they had previous to that.
A reminder that fans can tune into ESPN 3 for the post-game trophy ceremony presented by Capital One. That is immediately following the game on ESPN 3. To the victor, the spoils, and it appears in 1 minute and 12 seconds that baby will be headed to Boise, Idaho. A lot of success for the Broncos in this bowl. A lot of success for the Broncos in a lot of bowls. It's really a remarkable story in college football. They late 90s when they become an FBS program, and to have the level of success and to beat the teams they've beaten over the years on the big stages.
Well, I think that's why they get that benefit. That's why they're known as that team. You know, when Kellen Moore was at Boise State, they played Georgia in the Georgia Dome and beat them. They played for a good Virginia Tech team in FedEx Field and beat them. And that's how you beat Oklahoma in a Fiesta Bowl. When you do those things, you get recognized and you get the benefit of the doubt of the group of 5.
These are the bowl wins against Power 5 teams, and you should note that teams that were in Power 5s at the time of the bowl games that played TCU. TCU at that time was not in the Power 5. Obviously, they are now. And TCU and Boise State used to have, back before TCU went into the Big 12, they had some knockdown, drag-out games.
This is going to be a really good Boise State team next year. They'll use this win. They'll go into the offseason. They'll finish off their recruiting. And they will be, most of these players are returning. They lose a handful. You know, most notably, I guess, the receiver, Cedric Wilson. But everybody else, a lot of them are back. And they will be that team you do not want to play. And they get Oklahoma State early in the year.
And Cedric Wilson capping things off with a splendid performance. Wilson over 200 yards receiving. Scored a touchdown as Rypien takes a knee. The Capital One player of the game is Cedric Wilson from Boise State. Targeted him 13 times, those 221 yards, a career high. And what a way to end. It has been a terrific career for him. And Boise State, 13 seconds, will officially have its 11th win of the season. And Mario Cristobal will lose his debut as the Ducks' full-time head coach. 4-0 in the Las Vegas Bowl. This is home away from home for the fellas from the blue as Wilson and the guys get the win. 38-28. Molly McGrath is with the head coach, Brian Harsin.
Thank you so much, Reese. Coach, you're still drying off after that ice bath. I'll let you celebrate really quick with family.
Oh, thank you.
A lot of injuries to your star offensive players, including Cedric Wilson, who made some key plays down the stretch. What did this game teach you about the toughness and resilience of your team?
Well, it's been that way all season long. It showed up again today. And, you know, against a really good Oregon team. I'm just proud of our guys. We had some adversity hit us. They fought back. Nobody flinched. And guys stepped up and make big plays, even when we had a few down. But this is what our team's been about this entire year, and our coaches just finishing, finding a way, and that's what we did today.
Your defense didn't allow an offensive touchdown until the fourth quarter. What did that group do well?
Well, yeah, we spotted them a few from our offense there. Tremendous throughout the entire game. That's an explosive offense, but our defense played great. They have all season long, and just proud of the way they came out here, the way they prepared themselves. It's been that way all year, and it was no different tonight.
You lost your last 3 to Power 5 opponents. How important was this win in terms of the tradition of dominance that Boise State has?
You know, the reason it was important is for these seniors and this team. There's a great vibe about this group. We're never going to be the same. 2017 is over now, but these guys deserve it. So it wasn't about any of that. It's about this group of guys that found a way to win a championship, win a bowl game, and finish the season like they started with that mindset at the beginning of the year.
Congratulations on that, Coach.
Go Broncos!
Reese, back to you.
And Molly, the Broncos did go an impressive performance against Oregon in a 38-28. That is our final score from Vegas. Remember, live coverage from this game, the post-game trophy ceremony presented by Capital One. You can log on to ESPN3 for our entire ESPN ABC crew. Kirk Herbstreit, Molly McGrath, I'm Reese Davis saying so long from Las Vegas.